Shit. Ninja? Ninja! Ninja!
It's 11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
GearWebsites.com is your source for firearms-based playing cards and books. We also have mugs, shirts, and posters with designs that we've made live. Of course, we have patches. Every Friday is Free Patch Friday. We appreciate your support. Thank you for shopping at GearWebsites.com.
And my computer's acting slow tonight, so welcome everybody to our daily gun show. Come to you live every weeknight at midnight Eastern. And, well, we used to come every night at midnight Eastern. Now we're on week Fridays. There we go. And we're going to be looking at the wrap-up here this week, where we take a look at the stuff that we've been paying attention to. It's focused on what our Second Amendment protects. So I think I wanted to start off this week by saying thanks to the Patreons. We have a scroll here at the bottom of the screen. Where's that scroll? Let's click on this. We have a scroll at the bottom of the screen that thanks our Patreons and our YouTube channel members. Those are people that subscribe to our projects. And we're about down to just over 100 Patreons now. And that's keeping our servers online. It's paying for the software. We use Adobe quite a lot. Pays for that subscription. It pays for the different things, functionality we have on some of the websites. It's not a lot. Try to do that very frugally, but it's all possible thanks to our subscribers, people that keep all that stuff online and make it possible for me to take the time to spend on this stuff. I did that for a long time, as much as I could, and having to have taken a break from it for a while, I really do value the people that keep it going, that appreciate what we're trying to do, and know that this is a long game, and we'll put more volume on it when there's more support out there. So those Patreon and YouTube channel members are available. I don't think we link to them enough. We probably should, but we'll probably put more focus on that in the future, just to remind people once in a while what that's all about. But for now, I'll just finish up again saying thanks to the people that make it possible for us to do this. You'll notice there's no advertising here, and I'm certainly not independently wealthy. I'm in quite a bit of debt, thanks to some poor decisions financially, but digging myself out of that and devoting as much time as possible to the long game, not the let's pay attention to everything that comes along, to every barking dog along the way, and not, let's just talk for the sake of talking. The idea here would be to talk about the important stuff that's happening, the anniversaries of the things that have happened, because that's an ideal opportunity to talk about different things on their anniversaries. You know what I did? I pulled something in the drink and I didn't bring it over here. So guess what? We're going to listen to the commercial one more time while I go get my coffee out.
GearWebsites.com is your source for firearms-based playing cards and books. We also have mugs, shirts, and posters with designs that we've made live. Of course, we have patches. Every Friday is Free Patch Friday. We appreciate your support. Thank you for shopping at GearWebsites.com.
We also have a store, as you notice there. We have a commercial for it. Gizzard Gary and barbecue. Post links to that all the time. Appreciate that. Thanks for that. All right, so getting back to it, we're going to be talking about what the Second Amendment protects. And again, our focus isn't on every barking dog, and our focus isn't trying to get you to subscribe to something on a monthly basis, and we're trying to dance for you. What we're trying to accomplish here is the idea of individual effort, coordinated effort, and accountability, and a realistic appraisal of our situation. So that's what we attempt to do in this show. We know that we can't do all that at once, that it's not a job that gets taken care of once. Instead, it's nibbles, constant effort. Constant effort becomes repetition and complete understanding, familiarity. And once you're completely familiar with something, it's very difficult for somebody to mess with you on that. It's very difficult for them to play games with you. So when we talk about 2A, our goal is to talk about it consistently and authentically. All right, let's get into it. So thanks to the people that are showing up live. I guess I should mention that. We do value that. I do this show live. We did the Daily Gun Show for 1,500 something episodes live, and for a reason. We didn't want to have a scripted show. Our goal isn't just to get information out there, to create links and clicks and create a place for ads to exist daily, but instead to get a bunch of stuff out there about the museums, about the gun shops, about the industry, about our history, about the Second Amendment fight, and about our potential, what we can do with that, and not just defend ourselves, but what we can do going forward to lead the way for a lot of social beneficial things. And I will still be doing that. So that's what we'll be focusing on here. All right, so thanks again to the people that are joining us live in that effort. And I guess if you're listening to this in the future and you're leaving a comment, it's essentially live shifted or live with some sort of a time warp. So still being part of this non-scripted conversation that we're having here. It's a presentation if you don't say nothing. It's a conversation if you participate, right? So I'll consider it a conversation. You just have to follow through on that. All right, so I'm going to list a bunch of things here. We've organized them into 2A, guns, some other stuff, some different topics you'll see as we get through here. They're actually in the description of this video. If I were to go over to the video over here and go through the description here, that's what it looks like. It's the exact same data, literally. I copy and paste it into what is this called? Substack. And it comes out looking all nice like this because they turn each of the links to a video into the thumbnail of the video. They make it giant and big like this. It's real easy to see. So I break them down. It's awesome. Now, if I put this into the newsletter, it's a massive pain in the ass. Like, it takes hours to do that. I don't even know if it's worth it sometimes. But I do send out this stuff in the newsletter. We send this stuff out on the Substack. We send it out on the Patreon as a blog. Again, Patreon's pretty easy to set up. And again, that gets it straight to the people that make it possible for us to spend the time on this. And then, it's on YouTube here. So YouTube lets us do the live portion of it, creates the video and posts that for us. But their feature set in the description is pretty poor. So that's why we use these other platforms. And part of the goal here is to get this information across each week for the people that, like we just said, are making it or are interested in it. Anybody that's watching it, of course. But also just to document it so that if somebody needs to go back and try to figure something out, hopefully we've created an index, a searchable archive of the different things that went on when we can. We spend more time on, come here, puppy, open your mouth. Open your mouth. When they're backward sneezing like that, that's what that's called. Open their mouth, and then they stop doing it, see? Now I close his mouth and start doing it again, but when you open their mouth, they quit doing it. So the idea would be to get this information across to the people and whatever presentation works for you, whether it be a podcast, whether it be the video here or the written version. But then the second reason we do this, and we're not focused on this or that or the other thing, the new gun that came out or the debate on the new ammo or the red dot or the grip angle or whatever the topic of the day is to argue about. We're focusing on some stuff that's hopefully worthwhile. So we're trying to archive this stuff to create the index, but also just to help amplify the messages that are out there, to keep the history going, to keep the future events, people alerted to those so they can put them on their calendars, on their schedules. Now he's going over and just being weird on the carpet. And then for the robots, the spiders out there that map out the internet, we're doing our best to put stuff out on multiple platforms where it's appropriate, both for the humans and for the robots. So again, we thank our patrons, people who make it possible to do that. There's really no national level organization that's doing this. Gun Freedom Radio does it better than us. Riding Shotgun with Charlie does it better than us. Rapid Fire Radio from Cape Gun Works, they're doing a pretty decent job of it. But not that many are focusing on just a lot of information and archiving it all over the place. So that's we appreciate the ability to do this. So let's dig into it. We posted over on Patreon. Like I say, we posted in that newsletter that gets sent out, and then here on the video. So the first thing we get to talk about almost every week is Suicide Prevention Saturday, which is a continual effort from Brooke Cheney at a Great Start Shooting School in Connecticut. It's, like it says, a focus on prevention of suicide, mental health awareness, and she does a series of usually 20-minute, half an hour live presentations or conversations. Occasionally she'll have someone on as a guest. Most of the time she has a topic. Occasionally it'll just be a conversation. She almost always pays attention to the live chat, so the people that are there live are an influence on the show and part of the show. And it's to be more comfortable with the conversation, to be hopefully able to be useful if someone is having a stressful time. But if you're not looking at it from that angle, it's to have better conversations with gun owners and with anti-gun people about important topics. When the antis talk about deaths with firearms, they have to include suicide because their numbers are tiny. They're minuscule without suicide. 6 out of every 10 deaths associated with a firearm are suicide. Knowing that is half the battle. Being able to present that to someone who's relying on those deaths, those suicides, to justify the taking of your property by the state is an issue that we can use to end this conversation, to not to change their mind, but to show them that what they're being presented with is not necessarily what they understand it to be. Let them go back to their people and challenge them. So we don't need to change their mind. We just need to show them, pull back the veil, pull back the curtain, let them see what they're regurgitating. These are the kind of conversations that Brooke provides. This week she talked about Sound of Freedom, the movie that came out about the police officer who kind of inadvertently freed a little boy from being human trafficked. And the little boy said, "Can you help me find my sister?" And the guy did. He attempted at least. He was funded to the tune of like $10,000 from his department, if the movie summarizes all that right, and I'm remembering it right. He goes into South America to pursue some leads, or to find leads and then pursue some leads. He does manage to free something like either 15 or 50 kids in a kind of an operation he came up with on the fly, trying to pursue some leads. And unfortunately, it wasn't the kid's sister; it was some other people, some other little kids. So his department said, "Well, you couldn't do it, but you did good. So come on home." And he decided to stay to pursue what leads he had left, and quit his job at like the 29-year mark. Instead of retiring, he quit. He decided to quit his job. His family was on board, and he pursued leads and got some private funding, and eventually, long story short, did find the sister and continued to fight from there. I think this is going to be the first of 4 movies, and of course it's being met with resistance and political attacks. So if you've seen it, talk about it, let people know about it. What do you think about it? I put a poll up to kind of get some feedback on how people feel about it. It can be difficult to think about the topic, but it's interesting to see how it's being politicized. So that the topic was last week on Brooke's show. Definitely worth a listen each week. Even if you can't listen to it live on Saturday night, it's usually, like I say, about 20 minutes, and you get a really good round, complete, complete perspective on the conversation about suicide and all the facets there. And again, if you do get more familiar with the concept and you understand that there are these numbers, if you hang around where DJ Play Nice is when he's around, he'll usually drop links to the various phone numbers and places you can contact. Knowing those as a resource means that if and when someone you know is having some trouble or some stress, you can let them know that there's places out there. You don't have to necessarily memorize the number. Knowing the number is out there, knowing that you can go to almost any of Brooke Cheney's chats or barbecues chats where DJ hangs around, you can get those numbers. So, or, search them online, obviously. All right, then we get to Cape Gunworks, who we'll talk about later because they do a radio show each week. They've been covering for a radio host in Boston who's on maternity leave. So they've actually been doing quite a bit of live shows lately. They went live to talk specifically about the Massachusetts HD 4420, which is a multi-layered attack on different anti-gun approaches to whatever you want to say. We all know what they are. They're gun bans. So this is quite a while. I think it's like 20 minutes going over the different levels of it and the aspects of it. We saw the similar thing happen in Washington with Sporting Systems, efforting to get the word out to the state and rallying with other gun shops. Get the word out to outside the state, get the word out to the community, the industry. People are just interested in, the abuse of powers and the rights of individuals and businesses to rally behind this. How often do we say it's not my state, or there's nothing I can do, or they should have moved or something, whatever gets said. And, how many states does it take them to gain momentum? We're going to show something, I think, either in this show or in the Instagram show. I'm not sure where it was. There's been some illuminate. My little dude keeps jumping into the water bowl, so I'm getting distracted. He makes little kamikaze runs on the water bowl, stands in it for a little while, and then runs around the house wiping his head off because he thinks he's accomplished something. Anyway, I'm distracted right now. How many times is this stuff going to happen before one of our national level organizations rises up and creates some kind of an established advocacy program to help prevent it? Are lawyers going to have to come together and do this? What prevents the unscrupulous politician or the person with enough gumption or money to create a ballot initiative campaign? What stops them? Is it complaining after the fact? Is it moaning and complaining while it's happening? Or is it establishing something to prevent it? Is it establishing a resistance to it? Is it establishing, an early guard, an early watch? And how is that done? Is it done through our national level organizations? Is it done through one of them? Is it done through a collaboration of them? A coalition of them? Does a new one have to exist? I don't know. Just throwing it out there. But I don't like seeing things happen in more than one state. We get accustomed to things happening in California, New Jersey, and New York. And we satisfied going, it's their fault. They should have moved. That's what they get. And then when it happens in Washington and Oregon, or Oregon and Washington, or Oregon and Washington and then Nevada, or Nevada and Washington, we ignore it. I did some looking, and there's something like 7.5 million gun owners in Washington, and there's something like 7 million gun owners in Massachusetts. I didn't look to see what percentage. Well, actually, I did think it was 26 and 14% or something like that. It was obviously more people live in Massachusetts, I think, but same amount of gun owners. And what criteria do we use? When are we going to demand more from ourselves, our industry, our community, our activism industry, whatever we're called, to coordinate and again stop this layer of attack? If anybody's, I think Four Boxes Diner is probably the only one, or maybe Bill Whittle are probably the only two I can think of that might be thinking of this angle. If I'm missing somebody, please let me know, because I certainly don't watch everything anymore. I used to try to watch everything and pay attention to the important stuff. Now I barely pay attention to the things I'm able to. So I'm not trying to say like I've seen everything this week and this is the best. This is just of the stuff I'm aware of. This is the stuff I watch that's the best. Let's see, I'm going to start saying hey to some of the people that are out there while I take a drink here. Pretty sure Kingpin isn't allowed to be up this late. So before the show started, he said hey. And he's doing an interesting series now, going through the ABCs of 2A. Worth checking out. He's kind of giving heads up and thumbs up to different folks and people out there throughout time. Took the co-host out. He's absolutely being bad. I think I mentioned he's running around being bad. Now he's sleeping. So he'll be good for a little while. He's sleeping now. But he's super wet and he got all dirty. And now he's sleeping and being gross. Oregon ballot measure was... So G23 is talking about the Oregon ballot measure ruled constitutional by a federal judge. And he says they'll have an injunction in some county on state constitution. He posted email from the Oregon Freedom or Firearms Foundation, I think, on my community tab about 2 hours ago, so I missed that. We'll link to it at some point. Hopefully link to it in the description of this video, because right now you were talking in the comments and not everybody sees those comments. So if you would, somebody remembered, link in the description, or not the description, but the comments after this is a video. Anyway, then we got Roy out there. Good afternoon. Ron is out there as well. Good evening. And Cole, joining us. Good afternoon. Federation, so Oregon Firearms Federation of Planets. I don't believe you should use Federation unless you're going to put of planets in behind it. But it's free country, so I guess they can do what they want. So again, there's some stuff happening in Massachusetts. We can go, oh man, that sucks for them. Or, we can take this as an opportunity. Do we have the worst, most dangerous, cunning, rich and powerful opponents right now? Or do we have the oldest, lamest, stupidest, worthlessest, like the best opponents we could ever ask for right now? And why aren't we stopping this shit dead in the water? All the numbers point our way. We have so many things that we could be coordinating and knocking things down left and right. Not just knocking things down, but educating and creating awareness so that the things never come back again. You don't just challenge these things. You educate the people that were duped in the first place. When somebody realizes that they've been lied to, they not only get offended and vote appropriately, but then they also will no longer have the same respect or give the same credibility to the person who duped them. And it may not take one, it may take more than one issue, but if we can successfully create awareness of our situation in the way that the antis are using ignorance and doublespeak and creating made-up words in order to even tread water on their side, we win. So that's how we break down these things. We don't just defeat this. We educate Massachusetts. And how do we do that? Massachusetts ain't alone. How many people have business in Massachusetts? How many people have family in Massachusetts? How many people have church that has branches in Massachusetts? How many people have businesses that have branches in Massachusetts? How many people work with infrastructure that has infrastructure in Massachusetts? How many products come from Massachusetts? How many individual, influencers or celebrities or sports people. How many businesses? Like, come on. There's so much influence. This isn't a state that's alone. This is an opportunity to get back a state that was the beginning of the gun community, for crying out loud. So again, we can watch these states waver, fall, wiggle, right? Or, amongst us, or we, require their immediate neighbors. What is this, the old days where your immediate neighbors are the only ones that can help them? People in similar situations are supposed to somehow help them? Or do those of us that are happy, healthy, and strong lend a fucking hand? Like, come on, how do we do this? It should be pretty fucking evident in 2023. We got a lot of tools on our side. All right, so next up, we'll get into Sisters in Arms. Just are having a conversation with Jim Wallace from Goal about that same Massachusetts bill, HD 4420. Two different approaches to educate and enlighten folks about a perspective on it, that's in opposition to the party line or in opposition to what the politicians are out there spouting and what the news crews are no doubt, just reading off of the press releases or, going ranting off the press releases however they want, ignorantly. All right, so moving on from Massachusetts, let's go down to Texas. So this is an interesting one. I was going to just play this. I don't think Michael will care if I play this. So this is a video from Austin, Texas, where Central Gun Works is the gun shop that Michael Cargill has run for a number of years now. He does the Come and Talk It radio show, now podcast on Wednesdays. We'll talk about that in a bit. And this is a very short 2-minute, which will give me time to go refill my coffee here, a 2-minute video of Michael talking about what happened recently with the ATF audit. And I have to unmute it for this to actually be effective. So I'll go back to the beginning and unmute it.
ATF walked into the gun store, Central Texas Gun Works, and conducted an unannounced surprise inspection. So many of you know that we're actually in a lawsuit in litigation against the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, the ATF. And we're suing them because the ATF has decided to walk into mom and pop gun stores, all FFL dealers, Federal Firearms Licensed dealers around the country, and conduct an inspection and do an audit. Well, they're also shutting them down to the fact that the revocations have increased by 500%. So we decided to file a lawsuit. That is Michael Cargill versus the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and the Department of Justice. And so because we're in this little litigation with them, against them, I should say, they decided to walk to the gun store and conduct an inspection unannounced. And that's something they were not supposed to do. So being that we're in this litigation, they should have actually contacted my attorneys and let them know that they were going to walk into the gun store to do the inspection. So this is their response, because we immediately filed paperwork with the court. And so the ATF...
I'll cut it off so that I don't copy his whole thing. But essentially, there's a link in here. You can watch the whole thing. But he'll read the ATF's like, oh, sorry, my bad, email there, or, letter there. But essentially, he's suing them. He himself or his gun shop is suing ATF for this zero tolerance, you can't have any paperwork errors, one strike and you're out policy that's just slaying gun shops at an unprecedented rate. And now that they're in this lawsuit, they show up for an unannounced audit during business hours. Let's see. So also in Texas, you got armed attorneys. Now I got the hiccups. Armed attorneys is one of the many attorneys that are out there. The only one I really watch anymore. They don't seem to be as alarmist as some of the others. While they are posting every day, they're just kind of posting about stuff or their commentary on stuff. I don't feel like they're getting as much. Maybe they are, but they don't seem like they're raking up as much stuff. They're just commenting on stuff or commenting on stuff that they've commented on. But again, I don't watch all the lawyers anymore. But this one is like their perspective on this decision that's coming up. Then we get Travis. It's going to be on Monday is when he moved his show to. He'll have on Patricia, who's the, Nebraska Firearm Owners Association president and founder. So that's pretty cool. That's going to be a good conversation. Travis does his show now in the middle of the day. So get ready for that one to be in the middle of the day on Monday. I didn't listen to this one, but this is the Alex Woolley or something that is with the Second Amendment Foundation's podcast. And I wanted to listen to this one, so I put it in here. But he's talking about some law cases. Wickard versus Filburn, one of the worst Supreme Court cases. So I think he mentioned that one time, and I wasn't sure. So I don't know. That might be bad. That might be a lemon. If it's a lemon, oh well. Next up is Gizzard. You might not have heard of Gizzard Gary, but that dude is on every Friday, keeping a conversation going with a group of people with a live show. He just had a show earlier today, and this is probably a link to last week's show, but I'm not sure. It might be a link to today's show. But I do like to link to Gizzard. He helps promote my show, and he definitely links to the Gear website store quite a bit, almost always. So again, thanks for that. Do appreciate it. Not too many folks do. Foss does it, Barbecue does it, and Gizzard does it on the regular. Much appreciated. In fact, I think I heard we had our first sale in 2 months because we put the AK-47 decks back up there. Let's see. So now Barbecue does a show on Tuesdays. You can listen to that one. Kind of a general chat. Sounds like they might do a book club again. You got the Mouse Party moving to Saturday, so it's now a Saturday Mouse Party every other week from the overnight show. That's on the DM Foss channel. So we've been filling in with brackets when possible. Let's see. Now we got another one. Oh, this is Armed Attorneys. Oh, okay. I got to go listen to this. I thought this was the 2A Cops. So this was that one guy who was being weird. I'll have to go. I didn't listen to this one. I put it in here because I wanted to go listen to it. But I thought it was 2A Cops, so I wasn't really paying attention. All right, next we get to some of the gun stuff that happened this week. The CMP had their first shot ceremony. So they do their national matches each year, sort of the reason for their being. It's not just to sell guns to old people. So let's take a listen to this. Probably get copyrighted for it. Oh, I'm definitely not listening to this music. I was going to listen to this dude after her.
Competitors from across the country and some from abroad.
This series of events traces its history here at Camp Harry back to 1907. 116 years of history and of celebrating this sport and its competitors.
We look forward to a stirring competition, and we want to wish well to all participants today and to those that will follow, knowing that America regards this as a very important and historic place and one that can serve a very constructive role in maintaining a free, open, and civilized society.
The most favorite place for me in the world is right here at Camp Harry.
Okay. Let's see. Our G23 says, it was okay. I don't completely agree with the way he went about it. So what's he talking about? Oh, you're talking about this thing? Yeah, I'm not a big fan of him either. I'm just curious to see how it went. I mean, G23 might be talking about Foss and the way that he went about doing the mouse party. And I agree with you. You might not agree with the way he went about it. All right, so that was the CMP. You can go watch more about that. That's the Civilian Marksmanship Program. Here's another quick look from their shorts to show you some indoor air rifle. I'm not going to play the music because that'll definitely copyright me. I think it's just music. But it gives you an idea of the number of people. I do this show too late. It's the number of people and the level of concentration, I don't want to say teamwork, but there is teamwork. It's individual competition, but the competitors are friendly competitors, so there's a lot of camaraderie or whatever the words are. Valuable sport as well as far as sports go. And there's lots of them, right? Who was the double audit? It's some channel that just was going around. It wasn't anybody that anybody knows, just some channel. But everybody was talking about the audit. But the one we're talking about was on armed attorneys, and I didn't listen to it yet. They probably wouldn't care if I listened to it on the show, but I'm not gonna. Let's see. So now we got Chris from 740 did a deal for Lakeview Outdoors. Turns out his wife is going through some stuff, so a bunch of folks are donating their whatever super chats come in for the month to the family to help them out with covering the bills and stuff. So again, community, people don't think about it, but maybe 1,000 people watch a show. And we just use that 1,000 number. This is 1,000 people that care about each other, right? 1,000 people that have an interest in each other's, being decent to each other kind of thing. So not like a commune or some kind of weird cult, but just, people that are friendly to each other. If all of a sudden somebody's kid was doing something and needed $5 for a thing, and 200 people out of the 1,000 contributed, that'd be fair, right? Now the kid's got a bunch of money for whatever project. Nobody's out more than a couple of bucks. Maybe there was some cookies or some candy bars or some popcorn or something going around. So that's one of the reasons why a community can be helpful. But in a time when something's up, somebody needs some help, again, 1,000 people putting $5 in. $5 isn't nothing to home or hardly anybody. Through the channels that we have online now, that can happen pretty effectively, quickly, and almost no cost. That's $5,000. So if people threw $20, that's $20,000, and that can make a giant freaking difference. We all know that. It's not going to pay for everything, but it can make a big difference. So, we don't want to have a place where everybody's getting in line to be the next contributor in the list. But certainly, when people are having stress, community are there to help relieve stress. So bravo to the people that are helping out with that. Obviously, it's not the first time they figured it out, but it's getting better. These kind of things happen every once in a while, and they happen more often, and then they could get more and more effective. And it looks like we're in an era of these things being more and more effective. It's pretty cool. Patriots out there, good evening. DJ's out there, if I didn't say hey. All right, so next up, and I think Gizzard is doing all his super chats. I guess Chris is doing all his super chats for the month. They're going to Lakeview Outdoors help. Ghost Tactical had a show on Tuesday where they talked about a giveaway, and they got that going on till the 25th. So it's not next week, it's till the 25th. So go watch that show, get more info about it. And actually, it's in the description, I believe, that can give you all the info. But go watch the show to get the deets, as they would say, get the tea. So next up is G23, who's out there in the audience right now. Like that. Did an interview with this gun shop. He teased us one time with this picture one time and then didn't go into the gun shop. This time he went into the gun shop. I haven't watched the whole thing. I watched about a chunk of it. But right off the bat, I dig it. So thanks for that. Always appreciate seeing the gun shop. And I guess he won a gun. He probably talks about that in the video. Next up, we've got AZ Firearms. So there's a dude from AZ Firearms, and they've got a Russian, a Chinese, and a Yugo SKS coming up at auction. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about that. But that's Cheryl Todd's auction house. And, everybody's a big fan of that one. Pot of Gold. They've helped out quite a bit with our shows and our projects over the years. And we've sold a bunch of stuff like Pot of Gold's auctions. And always try to pay attention to what they got going on. They don't always focus on guns, but when they do, they've got some interesting stuff. So you can watch this video, and dude goes into detail about them. And then, if you want to jump in on them, the auctions are coming up. Unapologetically Armed is out there. Good evening. Hope you had a good week. Oh, we got a poll out there. Where did I put it? That is Fowl Territory. This is the video. So we got a poll going. If you're watching live, we've made arrangements with YouTube this week. If you'd like to participate in the poll, it's free. It won't cost you anything. So all you got to do is go over there and vote in the poll. And you can say, is it a great week for 2A? Is it a good week for 2A? Is it an okay week for 2A? It's an okay week. Or bad week for 2A. So we're getting an overwhelming response. If I had a co-host, or if this co-host wasn't bad, I would say, what do you think's going to win? And then they would probably not vote okay. But holy moly, 54% are voting okay. So why doesn't somebody tell us why they voted okay? Why isn't it a great week? Why is it an okay week? Ozzy's out there. Good evening. Had a lot of Illinoisans, a lot of Illini this week in our live stuff. And that's not a bad thing. So then we got, talking about things that are not necessarily a bad thing, but it's a sad thing. Roll call quit doing his show. Rants and Raves is officially over with episode 219. So he gave us the description of how he was in a rowboat getting a phone call. Hey, what are you doing over there? All right, I guess he's just going to hang out with me. No, he's not. What are you doing over there? Hey, you don't get to just hang out by yourself over there, buddy. You want to come up here again? I don't think he does, but he's not going to get to go hang out over there by himself. He didn't do all this business outside earlier, so he's giving me mixed messages right now. Not roll call, the little baby over here. All right, you're coming up here. All right, I had to pause there. Somebody needed some kissies. And everybody probably, you might not be able to hear it, but he is breathing right next to the microphone now. So we can put the puppy monitor up here. This is him. He is, in fact, over here breathing now. We do have cookies. So if we were to enlarge it, I don't want anybody to be upset. So if you've got little kids watching, you may want to, come on, is this thing ever going to flip over? There it is. Did it flip, or now that am I out of here? Can this be the slowest this computer's ever been? Is it? How many things are on here? What is going on? Am I all breaking up on the other end? Oh my goodness, there, eat your cookie. All right, so co-host is back, being a jerk and being loud. It's exhausting eating cookies. All right, so it's the last rant and raves. He says the chapter is closed. I didn't realize until after the show that I had a link. Now, I don't know if the link didn't get there till the next morning, or if I literally was doing some kind of a glitch where I didn't see it, but I did not see the link. I don't know if he mentioned it, but I was looking at my email when the show was on, and I didn't see the email, but missed out being in his last show. Maybe there'll be some kind of a Christmas special or something like that, a Valentine's Day special roll call, rant and raves for Valentine's Day or something. Let's see, if you ever checked out the Gear Report show, that's on Thursdays, and pretty much by themselves now, unless Yankee's doing the, what do we call them, shooting left to center thing with me and Matt, then this show is on where nothing else is on anymore. Barbecue quit doing them. Sandhills quit doing them. Every once in a while, Chris will do something on a Thursday. But otherwise, check out this chat. They'll talk about whatever gear they're reviewing. Oftentimes they get weird about stuff, but they chat about all kinds of gear-related things. They watch the live chat also. This Dragon Man's, hopefully he won't copyright me for this. But here's Dragon Man, and he's essentially going, hey, here, we're going to speed it up. Did you know you can watch things way faster than normal? We're going to speed it to 2 times and watch it at 2 times the speed. So essentially, Dragon Man is saying, everybody wants me to make my oval track wider. So he's like, all right, I will make it wider. So I'm going to take my cameraman and push him in the front of this scoop of this front end loader. And then we're going to stuff him up in the air. Come on, what is this? Oh, is it freezing on me? Stupid. So he's like, I'm going to put this dude in the front of this loader, scoop him up into the air. Then Dragon Man jumps out of that loader, scoots over to that blue truck, jumps in the blue truck, and then hauls ass, and then scoots around his oval track, which he's going to make 15 feet wider. And then at the beginning of the video, he goes to his one friend in New York, 79-year-old Dragon Man says to his 80-year-old friend in New York, I dare you to come out here and we'll have a demolition derby truck race. Last truck left standing wins. So they're going to make this track a bunch wider. And then there's Dragon Man jumping out of his truck. So they're going to make this track wider. And then they're going to have a demolition truck smash up situation. And he's got this giant dual cab freaking Dodge. So that's Dragon Man for you. Hopefully everybody's watching Dragon Man. Oh shit, look what happens when Mello's drinking water and dude is stuck up here. He might not want no water, but Mello's over there drinking water. He is not okay with that. Now he wants to go down. All right, so next up is found some NASCAR playing cards, or no, trading cards, and went through them with Clover. I kept a bunch of the basketball ones. I got to put them on eBay, but if anybody watches this and wants some of the ones that I got, let me know. Otherwise, I sent most of them to Clover to, I don't know what he does with them, plays with them or whatever he does. He opens them on his Clover card show, chat. Clover Chat Cards channel, I should say. All right, so after the guns and gear stuff that we just got done checking out and all the 2A stuff that we watched this week, we get into the radio shows. So we already talked about Michael Cargill, but he does a radio show each week. I don't know if it ended or if he just changed times because they didn't really say, but now it's on Wednesday nights, and it's like an hour or something. Is it longer? Does it say on here? Maybe like 90 minutes. The first one had the dude from Cody Wilson from whatever that place is called, Defense Distributed, where he made the first big popular 3D printed gun and distributed the plans for it. And then he's made some other products since then. So they're friends and they know each other for a while, and they're all in Texas. So he was on the first episode, and it was a pretty interesting conversation. They touched on things that have been talked about before, but they went into new ground on those things. So it might be worth listening to if you're a nerd about the history of the 3D printing and law fights from those Texas area. You know, a bunch of the lawsuits are coming out of this dude, Michael Cargill. It's the bump stock guy, and now he's fighting 3 other lawsuits. So, we've got national level organizations taking care of stuff, and you got people that own gun shops that are taking care of stuff. And that dude does a radio show, and it's called Come and Talk It. I guess now it's a podcast. All right, I lost my mouse. Hold on, I gotta find where my mouse is. All right, so do I even need this open anymore? I'm gonna close Fowl Territory. Let's assume that that's what's clogging my works. We'll see if it makes it any better on the closed Fowl Territory, I think. Yeah, okay, I closed it. All right, next up is Rapid Fire Radio. They were supposed to have Laura Smith on from the Liberal Gun Club, and she's got some other projects. She's trying to do something. Am I allowed to talk about it? I guess I shouldn't talk about it. She's going to do a project. Wait, did G23 have her on? Did you have Laura Smith on? I know a couple people were going to have her on. I don't know. For whatever, she couldn't get they didn't get the schedules to meet up. So she wasn't on the show this week. But Toby just went ahead and did the 2 hours live. It's no problem for him to just do the 2 hours, and they just interacted with the viewers. Pretty heavy on that Massachusetts 4420, of course, because it's happening right now. But it's a pretty good conversation, like always. So there's other radio shows out there. I don't get a chance to watch all of them or listen to all of them, but I do try to watch as many of these military interviews as possible. They apply to life. They apply to strategies for business and for relationships and just for your own mental clarity and for your physical being. A lot of these conversations aren't with kids that are getting out after their second tour. These are people that have been in their entire careers, and they're now 50 plus years old, and they've had multiple careers, and their bodies are destroyed, or different levels of being abused, and they're dealing with the after effects of that. So some of the conversations about their lifestyle and their diets and their techniques for dealing and their approaches to healing and to dealing with the different physical and mental issues that they have from all those years, which can apply to lots of people who get those same kind of symptoms or same kind of issues from other ways. These things apply in so many ways. So these military interviews, and I'll be listening to these forever. I really do value them. So a couple of the good ones, I've listened to probably more than this week, but a couple of the good ones were Combat Story, who had this guy on who was the origin of the drones, the first guy to ever shoot something off a drone, a munition off of a drone in war, and super good stories. A lot of this is the same as everything. Just do it. Do it and then figure it out later type of stuff. Really interesting. This was supposed to happen no, this one did happen. So wait, no, did this one happen? Let's find out. Yeah, this one happened. I haven't watched this one yet. So this was with what's his name is on vacation. So they have this other two Rangers, I think, interviewing everybody. And I just haven't listened to this one. I didn't get a chance to, but I like to include it because I'm sure it's good. It's a guy from MacV, from Nam. All those conversations are good. And as these guys get older, they don't care. Back in the day, when I was a youngin', you didn't get these guys to just talk about this stuff. There was ways to hear the conversations, but they were either massively drunk or you were fly on the wall between old colleagues talking to each other. So it was possible to hear these conversations back in the day. Now you hear these conversations. Sure, there's some years, some recollection is gone, but some of their, none of their attitude's gone. And their appreciation and the amount of times they've told the stories, the stories are actually potentially better. So if you appreciate Vietnam era vets and the stuff that they went through, that's always a treat. Having guys who know what they're talking about interview these people in a comfortable environment where they can just talk about some of the horrible things that had to happen or the amazing things that got done. There's other ones out there. I didn't listen to all of them this week. It's been a busy week. So next thing I wanted to bring up is a couple of blasts from the past. And this one is from our friends at the New Jersey firearms collectors who have been posting these collectors seminars or collectors discussions for years and years and years. So this is an awesome one on foreign military camouflage from a guy who did ops for, the guy who acted like the bad guys for training good guys. That happens all the time. We need to train people who are new. We need to train people give them new skill building development and stuff all the time. That happens constantly. So in order to do that, we have our own guys, people dressed up like the bad guys and all different kind of bad guys, and challenge the people who are trainees or the people who might be developing tactics or gear. We challenge them with being effective bad guys. I've never done that stuff, but I know a lot of people who've done this kind of stuff, and this is a guy who did that his entire career. He does most of the Soviet presentations, I guess is what to call them. Most of these Soviet presentations are done by this guy. So his experience with the stuff is kind of interesting. It's certainly different than people who are over there rubbing up against the actual stuff. But most people that were over there rubbing up against it, only rubbed up against the Germans, or maybe the Germans and the Polish or something. This guy has a little bit of everything, since he needed to represent a little bit of everything as a bad guy. So super cool. Maybe it's like 15 minutes, 22 minutes or something. And it's a real casual, quick conversation. It's not like super nerdy or anything. All right, another one, I like to look at old stuff. So YouTube sends me this old stuff, and this is an old Soviet training, AK-47 training video. Super worth watching. Just neat. So again, think of it that if things would have gone down differently, this would have been a bunch of communists talking about the motherland's, official training videos. They'd probably have to be learning this stuff in school. Instead, we're looking at it, casually, if we feel like it, on an internet for free, sharing it around the world, and we understand it for what it was, and it's an artifact and an antique. But if it wasn't through the peaceful negotiation that ended World War, or the Cold War, then this would have been a totally different perspective on that 1960s Soviet training manual for the AK-47. So enjoy those old Soviet manuals and the Soviet videos like that for what they are, the prizes and the bounty of winning the Cold War peacefully. Let's see, we got our stuff that we did this week, so we're ending it here pretty quick. I'm going to take another guzzle of my coffee over here because I'm drying out, and we'll do another commercial. We'll do this right again. This will give me a minute. It's going to be loud.
Shit. Ninja? Ninja! Ninja!
It's 11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the walls. The chair is against the walls. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
I can't go too far over an hour tonight because I only get so much time on this free account. We're losing Patreons like a lot of people, I suspect. Times are tough. People are sick of supporting something that isn't jumping around dancing for them or whatever the reasons are. So I shut off the what is this called? StreamYard subscription. That's like $27 a month. And well, we're making do. So dig into our stuff this week, stuff that we've posted this week and participated in. Each Tuesday, Clover Tack and me get together and attempt to do some coaching to give people some perspective and some encouragement, some motivation to create content, to value your voice and be part of this whole thing. All right, that's it. I'm putting you down, buddy. He's getting put down. He's bad. He's making the thing noisy. People are going to complain. I'm putting you down. You're going down, buddy. I'm putting him down. He's going down. Everybody said put him down. They're sick of that noise. Also, by when I yank him like that and give him a squeeze or two, I can tell if he's ready to go out again. I don't think he is. So, someone move that chair. Is that part of the intro that I'm missing? Let's see. So we talked about future-proofing your content, and it was a pretty good conversation, I think. We certainly had a good conversation off here. So if you're interested in having some one-on-one coaching for free, we don't charge nothing for it. Prepare to jump in after one of our chats on Tuesday and be part of that. Let's see. Then we I try to go. Where did the little puppy go? Okay. I tried to go live on Wednesdays and chat about something similar to this, except over on Instagram. So we do that on Wednesdays right before Cape Gunworks. Then we can point people over to Cape Gunworks, which is pretty much the best interactive show you're going to get each week from an actual, produced radio show format. So we do a sloppy perspective on Instagram each week on Wednesdays. Check that out. It takes about an hour, something like that. We do a show on Saturdays with Clover and Tony. And this week I grabbed a couple of shotgun news from 2004 and 2005. And we looked at different prices, and we looked at some of the ads and some of the format of the periodical, the magazine from back in the very, very early days of the internet, really before too much was happening online, or, the majority of stuff was happening online, I guess. So very real world centric periodical. I'm going to go into my stack and try to find some from the 90s or the 80s if possible, if that's possible. I don't know if I have any that old. And we'll try to do that again sometime. I've got some other magazines we could do that too that are even older, from like the 50s and 60s. If people are interested, let me know. We could check that out. Now, that little dog who needed to be put down earlier, a lot of people speculate that dog's a Chinese spy, or at least a communist spy. And if that's the case, we attempted to solve that deliberation by putting them to a citizenship test. So thanks to Patriot, who was out here earlier, saying Ninja, that for posting his, he posted something on his channel about that citizenship test. Made me want to take it, so I figured might as well go live, and why not challenge the little puppy, if he's American, to take that test. And he turned out he got a 91. A lot of people still thinks he's a Chinese spy, that he did too well on the test for being a puppy. So, what are you going to do? How do you vote on that? All right, so we also try to do brackets whenever possible, because there's a big thirst for brackets out there. So we did a midnight food bracket. People love to talk about food in the middle of the night. So if you want to go check that out, it's even funner as a leftover. You heat that thing up and it's even better. We also had a bracket on Sunday, and now I can't remember what the bracket turned out to be. It was firearms technology, or no, I think we went with firearms locations. We ended up going with firearms locations. So we attempt to do brackets on the days that are neglected by other people who used to do shows but don't do them anymore, when possible. It's a great break from the other stuff I've been doing. So if people have topics for brackets, then feel free to post them. I guess you know what I could have done? See how jerky this was and shitty? That's not my internet. That's because I was a spaz and I did this wrong. I'm going to bring this back to the bottom. What we're looking at here, let's not forget, we've been scrolling up and down our Substack. So Substack is a place where it's like a blog. It's like a blog for nerds, because a bunch of nerds hang out over there. And I use it because of this formatting. Now I went way too far down and showing you some other stuff. But that's essentially that last thing that we talked about. Here's what you do. You bring your mouse over to the side of the screen while you're still on the browser window, and you smash your, what's this called? Your mouse button down. And that'll create that weird little disc looking thing. Now, that's not the disc that we used to shoot out of guns back in the day, but it looks like it. Now, as you move your mouse upwards or downwards from wherever you point that thing, so I'm just pushing my mouse button in, and that's leaving that little disc there. So if I wanted to leave that little disc way down here on the page, or if I wanted to leave that disc way up there on the page, right? Or if I wanted to leave it right in the middle, that's up to me. So now as far as I move the mouse from it is how fast it's going to go. So see how fast it's scrolling up? And if I move it closer to the disk, it's going to scroll much slower. And if I had a huge website that I was trying to scroll up and down, I don't have to move my hand at all. My hand isn't moving up and down or nothing. I'm not even touching the mouse, honestly. It's just scrolling along on its own until it got glitched there. But I don't know if everybody knows that trick. I don't know what it's called, but that's the smushing down your roller button thing and letting the mouse do all the work for you. And now we'll let that happen until the rest of the top of the page here. But if you do it right, it can be a much more consistent scroll, and it can be a good way to do a screen capture video. I've done that plenty of times. In other words, if I was going to try to do like a 1 minute synapse summary of this whole thing, I could just do this. I'm not touching the mouse right now. It's just scrolling on its own. And I could say, blah, 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 listen to the weekly wrap up, blah, 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 it's so good, blah, 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 you'll be better off or whatever, blah, blah. It's a pretty good commercial. No, you can't do it on a phone. This totally, I don't even know if you can do it on the Apple. I don't think they allow this kind of helpfulness on an Apple. They expect you to be a slave to their little finger button, but I don't know how it works on an Apple, actually. All right, so let's go up and see if anybody else is saying anything. They were talking about the chairs against a wall. Thank you for that. It said Toby is awesome. I think a lot of people would agree. He does a great job. Ozzy is saying that chair has been against the wall way too long. Patriot is saying it stinks that his local gun shop closed and had all sorts of 1940s and 50s advertising, which was closed before you could get any. Oh man, that's frustrating. You guys are saying hey to everybody. Love a stack of subs. Doesn't have a scroll wheel. See, that's what happens. They don't allow you to have the cool little gizmos like what we got. So don't mean to flaunt the abilities of a regular mouse over people that have an Apple mouse. I don't even remember what an Apple mouse looks like. It's been so long. But yeah, I don't think you even get a button, right? Like you just kind of smush on the top part of it. I don't know what that's like. I might have to try it someday. I do need an Apple device to be able to do something I want to do on another project. I think we're going to start wrapping up here. Well, we are going to start wrapping up here. As soon as I'm hoping we're going to wrap up here because I'm trying to get my weird mouse, which is acting up now, to come over here and click on the dang poll. Come on, man. All I want is my god dang poll. So how was this week for 2A? And it looks like we are still, I'm going to try to zoom in. Zoomy on this thing. Maybe. Is it going to show up? Oh, come on. See how slow my computer is? This is how slow my computer is. If it was like this all the time, holy moly. I can remember when computers were like this, though. All right, so there I think everybody can see. Nobody voted bad week. Interesting. 27% for great week. 27% for good week. But 47% for okay week. Are you satisfied with that? Is that satisfactory? Are we satisfied that if we're not getting attacked, it's okay? If we're not exercising and getting ready for the next, if we're not grouping and training and getting ready for the next attack or assault, not from them, but for us, like are we getting rid of the NFA? Like, I don't know. Just throwing that out there. I don't think we have to accept what we're given. We can ask for and demand more. So let's demand more. If it's been an okay week, I think that was an opportunity for it to be a great week. And if you thought it was a great week, there's some stuff out there. What did we miss? I like the idea that there was no bad weeks in there. I don't think I missed anything horrible that happened, but I know there's some imminent or pending stuff that's, depending on who you talk to, not a lot of bright future there. All right, well, I'm just rambling here. I don't script any of this. Thanks to our Patreons to make it possible for us to do that. Again, a dwindling number. So if you'd like to think about being part of this stuff, if you value this kind of stuff, this live conversation, these voices that aren't the standard recipe that what works on the platforms, the paying attention to every barking dog or the paying attention to every new grip angle or whatever the dance that's popular at the time. And if you value that, there's lots of people doing lots of different things out here. There's people writing comic books, which I'd like to be doing. There's people writing songs, which we need more of. There's people helping each other. There's people doing intros and people making illustrations and people doing video things, doing audio work for each other. And if you'd like to be part of that and see that grow and develop, evolve and expand, head over to Patreon. Now you can do this on other platforms and other people have their opinions of Patreon for sure. But head over to Patreon with $20. Take $5 of that $20 and give it to us. I think it would be awesome if we had 1,000 people that threw $5 at us each month. Hopefully that wouldn't make you go broke because it would be $60 for the year. And then we'd have whatever that is, $5,000 a month. Holy moly, we'd be able to really accomplish some things with that. So throw $5 at us, then take the rest of that $15 and go look around. There's something like 33 people that we support on Patreon. So as soon as $33 comes in on Patreon, I only support everybody with $1, except for Locked and Loaded. I think we give them $5, but everybody else gets $1. And I'll probably drop Locked and Loaded to $1 because I don't have $1 million and they're doing pretty good with the video game, and I bet. So anyway, go look at our 30 people that we fund over on Patreon with Patreon money. But wander from there. Those people support other people. Maybe you like cars. Maybe you like little dogs. Maybe you like cats. There's people that like cats. It's legal. Maybe there's something else you like. And go look on Patreon and see if there's somebody out there that's creating content that you might value and invest in that. It can be $1, it can be $5. Some people invest $20. Like, they take us out to lunch once a month. That is what kept us going for 2 years. So I was able to even keep the bills paid to the level we were without just completely eating it on credit cards. So really do appreciate the people that stuck around for that time. But if you're not a Patreoner or you're not a channel member, consider it. Take $20, $5 to us. $15, go around like the magical Patreon fairy and sprinkle money everywhere and watch what happens when people out of nowhere get another financial supporter for what they do. Once they see that there's people financially value with their pocketbook, what they're doing, look how much more interest they have in what they're doing and how they develop that. And you'll know that you're a part of that. That's capitalism. It's pretty neat. I can tell you from being on the side of it to be able to accomplish things. We've done things like the patch batches. We've brought together dozens and dozens, literally, of people who never worked together and gave them all $60,000 altogether worth of patches and, attempted that. We've created books and other projects. Built some calendars. We've gotten on trips and gone all over the country, 60,000 miles a year or something like that. Getting out there and doing stuff. So the community can do a lot. We can exercise that. And I appreciate the people that participate in what we're doing, because our next goal, once I can get some bills slaughtered here and get back on track, our next goal will be to put effort towards awareness, activism, and individual grassroots stuff that has been, as far as I can tell, kind of overlooked or neglected in the major game. So we'll be looking forward to adding all that stuff in the future. If you've got stuff to add to that financially, you know where to throw it. Our Patreon, our YouTube channel. YouTube takes like a third of it right off the bat. Patreon takes like 3 to 5%. So yeah, Patreon's pretty awesome. It also lets us speak with you individually at whatever level. There's some things we can't do over there, but they're not too bad. But however you do, throw some support at us. If you've got ideas, if you've got time, and you'd like to be part of what we're working on in the future here, let me know. It's nice to know what resources are going to be available. Those people, that time comes and goes. People who have all the time in the world, that doesn't last forever. People that think their time is tied up, things change, and all of a sudden you do have a couple hours a week to devote to something. And what we're going to do is something more open source, something that's kind of aware of the tides, the ebbs and flows of interest. And we're going to create some systems that can be applied by people and don't rely on individuals, but just rely on individual effort to take place. And hopefully we can find enough people that aren't looking for fame and glory and fortune and exploiting the issues, and we can accomplish some stuff. All right, we'll have some conversations with people as I can devote more time to this stuff who are in the same mindset like that, and we'll thrash that stuff out as we're able. All right, well, with that, we'll wrap it up. We got Ron Wayne saying, hey, Gunmetal Guy, didn't get to say hey to you. Do we still have any of the older decks? I'm not sure. I've got very few of some of them. I can't remember anymore off the top of my head, but again, I'll be able to work on the store here. It's difficult now that it's 1,000,000 degrees. We're having a hot heat wave, so the middle of the day gets pretty difficult to work in. So I'm trying to attempt to sleep through that hottest part of the day, and then attempt to get this other stuff all into the other times of the day. The store has definitely suffered on that, but I did find a box of AK cards, and I'll be putting them on, or I already put them on the store. Because if that's what you mean, yeah, they're up there. And I don't know about older than that. We have some gun channel stuff up there, I think. All right, well, with that, not being able to stay cool, that's pretty difficult to do. It's been a hot year. It'll only be like 86 tonight. So the coldest I can get, the coolest I'll be able to get is 86. I don't have any kind of air conditioning or anything like that. So yeah, not possible to stay cool for at least a couple of months. But thanks for the wishes, I guess. Hopefully everybody else is enjoying everything. And we'll throw last, I guess I should throw the ninja thing up here at the end, and then we'll wrap it up.
Shit. Ninja? Ninja! Ninja!
It's 11:59 at
GearWebsites.com is your source for firearms-based playing cards and books. We also have mugs, shirts, and posters with designs that we've made live. Of course, we have patches. Every Friday is Free Patch Friday. We appreciate your support. Thank you for shopping at GearWebsites.com.